Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Path 11 podcast with your hosts, April and Mike. We have a great show on angels today, and we are speaking with Belinda Womack, who was a former scientist with dual master's degree in microbiology and environmental science. Belinda was in a lab doing stem cell research when she found herself in the presence of an archangel calling her to a life of service. She's been working with 12 Archangels for the past 25 years to help us listen and heal our wounded inner child, release fears, and enact deep subconscious transformation. She has a new book that's recently been released, and her new book offers a powerful guide to open your life to the wisdom and healing of the angels and their importance in guiding the planet. The 12 archangels of the central sun of the universe are all powerful and all loving energies that pour forth from the heart of God. This book shares practices, daily guidance to, and guided visualization to access the healing power of the chakras to manifest with the creative imagination. Hi, Belinda.
Hi.
We're excited to have you here. I really love talking about angels. It's maybe a little bit more of my forte than Mike's, just because I'm also an energy healer, and I have had the experience of working with some of the angels when I did some studying probably like 10 years ago. The first person that I ever picked up any information from was Doreen Virtue and some of the angel work that she had done. But it looks like you have some great stuff out there. You have a book, Lessons from the 12 Archangels, and your online module, you actually have kind of like an education system set up online where people can go through this 12 Archangels University. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. And you also have a really interesting background in history with being a former scientist. And I know that you have a couple of master's degrees in microbiology and environmental science. So I'd love to hear just how you started this process going from, science and then all of a sudden speaking and communicating with archangels.
Well, it definitely was a big surprise, April. I was working at a laboratory, actually in pediatric cancer research, and I was just going about my day, and I was working on a bone marrow sample, and it's very kind of, how do I describe this? It's almost an undescribable experience. So it felt to me like I was lifted out of the laboratory, and I found myself in a stone room. So it was a round room, and it felt like there was no ceiling. And then there was a golden white light that started to flow into this room where I was, and the room had a dirt floor. So I was very, very confused because I had just been in the lab working under a sterile hood, under sterile conditions, and now I'm on a dirt floor. So I was like, this is not gonna fly with trying to keep things sterile. That's one of the things that went through my mind. And so then in this golden white sunlight that was streaming into this round room made of stone, I saw the Archangel Gabriel. And Gabriel had a trumpet and dressed in these amazing, beautiful colors. And they made sure that I was going to know that it was an angel. So that Gabriel had these beautiful wings, and Gabriel spoke to me just telepathically straight into my mind. The message just went very clear, a little bit like a lightning bolt. And Gabriel said, "Belinda, we have new work for you to do." And my response to that was, I think you've called the wrong person. I'm a biologist. I spent quite a lot of time in graduate school. I thank you. I'm confused. I don't know what's going on here. And Gabriel said, "We're calling you to do a different kind of work. We need you to help humanity to embrace their divinity, to find that divine child within." And I said, "Well, I don't have the credentials for this." I was kind of trying to talk myself out of the job. I said, I'm a biologist, and what do I need to understand? What do I need to learn to do this kind of work? And Gabriel said, "Well, there's a book to your left, and we need you to understand everything that's in that book. And so, April and Michael, I kid you not, that book, it was on a stone table. It must have been at least 3 or 4 feet wide and at least a deep, 1 foot in depth. And it was one big book. And I said, "Excuse me, you want me to learn everything that's in that book?" And so Gabriel spoke to me and said, "Just look again." So the book opened up, and then in the middle of the pages was one word in a beautiful red flame that said love. And I said, "Okay, I can learn how to love. I'm all about love." So the next thing that I remember, it felt like I had been there for hours. Gabriel said, "We will be back. We will be back in touch with you." And then I was back in the lab. I was still holding my sample in my hand and the syringe in the other hand. My whole body was vibrating, and I looked at my watch because I thought I've been gone for hours, and not even a minute had gone past. You know, when you're a biologist, you always want to have a second hand so you can time things. And no time had passed. So that was my first introduction to the archangels and receiving my call to do a new kind of work.
Wow. Now, prior to this experience, were you engaged in any type of studies about angels, or did you have a meditation practice, or was this just a world that opened up that day for you?
April, when I was a child, I definitely was very clairvoyant, and I loved angels, and I would visit with them, and quite a few of the ascended masters that I didn't know that that's who they were, but I definitely would communicate with people and angels on the other side of the veil in heaven. But that had pretty much closed down for me by the time I was 12. I had decided I was going to be a scientist, and so I pretty much had shifted over to my logical hemisphere, and as far as I knew, that was it. Now, I remained intuitive, I remained compassionate, but you know, really, I did not experience angels for a long number of years until I had that experience in the lab.
And then take us forward from what happened that day after that experience in the lab.
So I would say it was about a month after that. I was in my home, and I was, not at work at this time. And all of a sudden, in front of me, the whole room filled with blue eyes looking at me. I mean, the whole room was full of blue eyes, and I heard again. The angels will speak. They speak in many different ways, but my original experience with the angels, they spoke to me straight through my own thoughts. I didn't hear a different voice. I just knew it. I knew exactly what they were saying, and I heard, "I am Archangel Michael." And I was like, okay. And then again, I had the same experience of my body was vibrating. So after that, I was invited to go to an angel workshop where you were supposed to get to meet your guardian angels, and there was a long process and meditation, and so I said, well, maybe this would help me to understand who's communicating with me. So the whole workshop, it was supposed to take 90 minutes before you could meet your angels, and I was there. I closed my eyes, and the image that I saw was myself as a little child, probably around age 4 or 5, sitting in a circle of 12 pillars of color, of 12 magnificent. It's going to make me cry. Let me just pull myself together. It was just such an experience to be surrounded by these magnificent beings. And they each gave me a gift. And so I would say that it was probably 2 months after that that I surrendered. The message continued to grow louder. We're calling you to do a new kind of work. So I left my my job as a biologist about 2 months after that. Maybe it was 3 months. And then took me a little while to figure out what I was supposed to do. And the angels returned, and they gave me some material to channel all those years ago. And then they started to send me one by one individuals to help. So that's pretty much the story.
Wow. Now, once you began channeling some of their messages, is this how your book came to be? Or were you using some of this information more for individual private sessions?
Oh my goodness, April, you are taking me back in time because this is at least 25 years ago. And I really like to be precise about what I share with others. So the original material that I channeled was just a little pamphlet. It was from some of the angels as well as a few of the ascended masters. I remember that there was a message in there from Buddha, and one from Saint Germain, and one from Master Jesus, and then from also from Gabriel and Michael. And I used that material. They told me, we want you to use this material and you're going to teach a workshop. So that was actually how I began. I was completely clueless about what I was doing. The angels were guiding me every step, and I just followed what I heard, truly like a little child, because I had a mortgage to pay and I really didn't understand what was happening. So I taught a little workshop, and surprisingly, I had people actually show up. And then one of the individuals from that little workshop I gave called me on the phone and shared that she was having difficulty with her work. She was in a manufacturing business, which was quite male-dominated field at that time, and she needed to attract a new customers. And out of my mouth, I still remember this, I said, well, would you like to have a session? Would you like to change this? Would you like to have those customers show up? So that was my very first client. And I remember because her guardian angel came through, and her angel's name was Easy Road. And from that very first session, her career began to shift and change. And as both of you, I'm sure you understand, we are creating our lives, and we are creating our lives with our beliefs and with our feelings and with our memories and even with our DNA, our ancestry. And so, what angels are all about is they help us to shift what's stuck within us, to shift that past, to transform it, so that our soul, our guides can just move us forward on our destiny, and to put us on a road of what we're here to do, just like they did for me. I honestly would have expected that I was always going to be a biologist. I'm grateful for my career change, and I love being in service, as I'm sure the two of you do. And there's nothing like helping others.
Awesome. Now, I bet some people might ask, does every person have an angel working with them, and are archangels available to everyone, or do people have to call upon them specifically to invite them into their lives for help, or are the archangels and other angels just working with people on a normal basis?
So the way that angels, and I just want to just make a little clarification. Archangels are not, they make it absolutely clear, this is kind of one of their pet peeves. They do not want human beings to believe that angels or archangels are above them. They say we all come from the heart of God. We are all part of oneness. Human beings, we have an ego, and we get to believe in separation, and we get to experience fear. Angels exist at a vibration of pure love. So they don't have to deal with fear. They don't have to deal with separation. But they stress that we're in this together. We are here at Schoolroom Earth learning how to love and to transform and remember that we are all part of the heart of God, or the heart of the universe. So we're in this together. So the arc in the word archangels, they love to speak in symbols and metaphors. It's, if you will take that word off of archangel, you can see it as an arch, or an archway, or a doorway, or a bridge. And that's what archangels do. They help us to build bridges in our lives, bridges of consciousness, so that we evolve in our ability really to remember, hey, love is where it's at. Love is the greatest power. And it is a power that when we work with it and we choose it consciously, and we let that energy go down into those places where we still have fear stuck in us, everything changes. So angels and archangels and devas, which are nature angels, and there's just such and fairies, all of the angelic kingdoms, they work with humanity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We are their mission, and they love helping us. So what they say to us is, sure, if your minds are open and you're willing to believe that we exist, and we exist in your lives to help you, that makes our work easier. There's no doubt about it. The 12 archangels represent the cycles that we go through, just like the 12 signs of the zodiac, and the 12 hours on a clock face, and the 12 months in a year. So they are a collective that help to create the schoolroom, where we get to come and learn to choose love and to experience the greatest power in the universe, the power of love. So they work with all of us, and they work with our souls, and they work with our egos, and they work with our nature angels that hold us together here in a physical body. So angels, yes, they work with all of us full time. And they just want to say one more time that by all means, when our minds are open to experiencing them, then we will experience them. And they're happy to prove that they're real here on this mundane plane. They do not have a problem understanding that we like what is tangible. We like things that we can prove, and we can hold on to, and we can smell and hear and taste. They're totally happy to prove we're here to help you. I just want to mention, they love to prove that they are here to help us through the results that we experience. So when we say, thank you, thank you, thank you, angels, for helping me with whatever it is, and we experience the results of that help, that's what they like the most. They really are not attached to whether we see them. whether we see their colors or how we see them, or whether or not we know their names, because their names come through in many different languages, and they're not attached to that at all. What they care about is helping us on our journeys, helping us to receive abundance, to remember we are God's divine children, and we are here to experience heaven on earth.
Wonderful. Now, I'm familiar with some of the archangels. I've heard of Archangel Michael, Ariel, Gabriel, Metatron, I believe is an archangel. But would you mind going through just naming what the 12 archangels, or who the 12 archangels are, and maybe just a sentence or two or a description of what each archangel's job is, or how they can help, and why people would want to call upon, say, Archangel Michael over Ariel for different things that are going on in their lives?
Well, April, I would love to do that, except that I am not allowed to do that. And there's a significant reason for that. And that is because, again, the 12 archangels do not like to make their names an issue. So with that said, the common archangels that we would say are the celebrity of the archangels are often Gabriel and Michael and Raphael. You also mentioned Archangel Metatron or Ariel, who's also called Uriel. So they are happy to share the angels of the 5 directions. So that would be so that you have a few names. They really want to work with you and Michael on this show, but they have their reasons for why they do things. So we're going to start in the east, and that is the Archangel Michael, and he represents the element of fire, and he's saying loud and clear, "Now look, Belinda, we want to work here with April, but when you call on any one of the 12 archangels, or you just say, I call on the angels to help me, we all show up. We work together like a beautiful symphony where you can't even tell the different instruments that are playing in the orchestra, because we are fusing our energy. We are working together with humanity, and we work together with every particle of God's energy in the universe." So with that said, we move from Michael in the east to Uriel or Archangel Ariel in the south. And this is the element of mineral or earth, or of the little child that lives within us. Then we move to the west, which is the Archangel Raphael and the element of water, and intuition and wisdom and the arts and healing. Then we move to the north with the element of air or the wind, and this is the Archangel Gabriel, Archangel of communication, also known as the planet Mercury. So here we are, April and Michael. I could go around the circle again and give you different planets. So the archangels are the same as the celestial bodies that guide us through our astrology. So this is why they do not like to make their names significant. They say, just call on us, just ask us to help you, especially if you're going through a difficult cycle or phase of your life. We work together in oneness, and we work together as a team.
Gotcha.
Now, what are your private sessions like when you do like a private reading on a client?
What I love to do, Michael, is ask my client what is their kind of seemingly impossible problem to solve. And often these are issues that may be a pattern that has been plaguing this individual for years or even lifelong. And then I use a little bit of astrology. I call in their angels and guides. I work with their loved ones in heaven, and I tune in to their wounded child, or bottom line is the deepest layers of their subconscious. And the reason that the angels have Belinda do a session in this way is because we human beings, we repeat the past. And sometimes we're even repeating a situation that we haven't finished from a past life because we're in school here. And once we can understand on a conscious level, wow, this is what is going on here. This is what's really happening. You know, our subconscious rules up to 90% of our conscious decision making. So when we understand we create our reality with what we think and we believe, well, let's look at who's really creating that. Let's get to the root of it. Let's transform it with the tools that the angels provide, working with our chakras and also just with understanding. Let's transform it. Let's let it go, and let's shift our reality. And that's what angels are all about. You know, they're about miracles, and they want to take that individual, even in one private session, so that that person is a different person, a much happier person, experiencing much greater awareness and much more in touch with their divinity and their ability to receive what they've asked for from God, or something even better by the end of the session.
Would it be possible to do like a sample session on either April or myself?
Sure, of course. You just need to tell me what's going on for you.
Well, I'm self-employed, and I'm always looking for the next job. So usually, things have been pretty good, but every once in a while, you don't see that next job coming, and you start worrying about money and that whole issue. But is that going to change? I mean, I think that's probably my biggest concern right now, because I'm fairly healthy. Family's pretty good, so.
Okay, so in your self-employment, tell me your vocation. Tell me what kind of work really, makes your heart sing.
It's doing filmmaking, working, with Path 11. Right now we're working on a couple films and this podcast. And I'm always looking to expand the audience and, get the films out there. And that's one area that I'd like to work in. Okay,
so let's talk about that quickly. So, Michael, the main thing that I hear is that you've been working on this. This is a culmination of many lives for you. This work, and it's going to take some patience. So, what your guides and angels need you to understand is humanity, or the mass consciousness, needs to be ready to receive your message and your teaching and your films that you are creating. So where angels can help you is to align the vibration of your work with the vibration of the mindset of whom you want it to reach. So that's one thing. So by all means, the way you do this is you just say, thank you, angels. Thank you, guides. Thank you, universe. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. All of those words will get you what you need. Thank you, thank you, thank you for aligning my work, the films, the podcasts, everything that I am here to share with humanity. Thank you for getting that in alignment with the mindset so that it can be well received. And I'm just going to trust that that's happening. Thank you. So that's one thing I hear. The next thing I hear is that, and this is very, very simple, but the answer truly is simple, is that you want to pay attention to that doubt when it comes into your mind. You don't want to neglect it. And when that doubt comes in, we'll say, oh, look at that. There's doubt. And the angels ask us to look at doubt, which is a hindrance of mind. Master Buddha teaches us that. And just look at that as an old, crusty old mail, and you just open the door and you say goodbye. I don't want you in my mind. And then what we do when we've asked doubt to leave, we ask for our higher self, which is just the part of our soul that's always in heaven, the bigger part of us, to fill us, every cell of our being, our whole vessel, with respect for self, respect for our divinity, respect for what we are here to do, and faith in that work. Faith in Michael. That's step number 2. So then the third thing that they ask for you to do is when you wake up in the morning, you just say, thank you that the podcasts are reaching a greater audience today than they did yesterday. Ask for your angels and guides to help open the doors for you for your films. And be willing to receive and help. One of the things that I hear for you, and they say that you're making great progress on this, is that you're a very independent spirit, and that you grew up in an environment where you learned to take care of Michael. So you learned how to take care of yourself pretty quickly. And that's all part of your journey, and that's part of your story. But now is the time for you to really ask for help. Ask for help from your guides. Ask for help from your friends. Ask for your friends to go and find the expertise that you need. You can do this just with your intention. You don't have to go knocking on doors, because again, they understand you're a very independent person. And you have a very clear vision about what it is that you want to do. And so there's this part of Michael, April, that he doesn't like contamination. He really wants to stay, that laser beam that's absolutely clear and straight. And so he doesn't want to have a lot of external influence, because he knows what his heart and his soul really wants to do. But think of that as your trajectory. That's your alignment. So you want to ask for, through your intention, that whomever is supposed to be a part of Michael's team, that is also their souls are called to help get this truth out to the consciousness, that those individuals step up. And they show up in Michael's life, and they show up with resources, right? They can show up with wisdom, they can show up with love, and they can show up with cash to also help this mission. Yeah. And so the bottom line for you is to open up and receive. Okay. From wherever God wants that to come from for you. So that's a very short, kind of sample. I don't have your astrology in front of me. I could give you a little bit more detail. But I hear for you, everything is falling into place. And be grateful that God is providing your daily bread every day. And that is super powerful for, any person who's going through a spiritual initiation. Sometimes there can be times of lack or where the cash flow is not flowing. So breathe, take a big deep breath in, and really fill up with that gratitude that, wow, everything is okay today. And if it's not okay today, you can be sure that the money's going to show up today, because you work for God. You work for God. So part of the learning is to be here now while holding that vision of what you want to manifest for you in the future. So it's a little bit like, a balancing act, keeping one foot on the water of faith and one foot on that land of, yes, this is where I'm going. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it makes sense to me too. In hearing, it's just the process for, our podcast, our films. It's taken a long time, but what I really heard in that is about, releasing these films for when the mass consciousness is ready for them. And, there's been a long time in between our first film and our second film, but, as I hear what you were saying to Michael in that message was, I think our second film, although it took a while, came out at that right time for it to be received by our audience. Because there was probably some sort of evolution of consciousness that was happening during that time before it was actually released. And same thing with our third film, we're building up to that. But, and you may even find that with your work as well and what you're putting out there to the public and who's really ready to receive it and at the depth, that you're putting it out there as well. So.
Absolutely, April. And your guides and angels want to make it absolutely clear to you that everything is happening in divine order. So be grateful for the success that you want to have, that you haven't experienced yet. Well, give thanks for that success. Give thanks and fill up with that gratitude that success is happening for you now, because it helps to pull the future into this moment. The only thing we have power to change is this moment. And Belinda and the angels are not the first person that have ever said that. That's an ancient law of truth. So what we can do is we can change the past in this moment, and that's a big deal for the 12 Archangels. They are all about you change the past so that you don't carry the past of doubt and lack and misery into this present moment. And that helps the future to manifest. So Michael and April, the message you're trying to deliver to humanity, you want to remember you're not asked to do this alone. You have so much help. And my goodness, angels and loved ones in heaven, and even those that we don't even know are on our committee, they are involved in your projects, and they are helping you. So they say, pay attention to your own past, and if you have what they call the not enoughs come marching back into your head. I've never met a old soul spiritual teacher that doesn't have an invasion of the not enoughs, the army of the not enoughs of the inadequacies. So when they show back up, understand it's just a test. Put them in the color purple, which is that violet fire of our crown chakra that transforms fear back into love, and just sweep them out into a big purple ocean and fill up again with unconditional acceptance of who you both are, who you are called to be, what your mission is about. Because when you fill up with that love, that's opening the doors to receiving help and receiving cash and receiving opportunities and new audience. So it's all happening for you. They appreciate your patience. Part of being patient is proving I have the courage to put this message out into the world. It's just part of the testing of the refinement that, a spiritual old soul is going to go through.
Right. Would you like to take some time to describe what your online course is that you offer?
Sure. So I created with the 12 Archangels and many ascended masters and wonderful guides in heaven, something that we call the 12 Archangels University. And it's an online school that where I teach through video, and I also have a monthly teleconference where I teach an additional class. But I work with the Universal Weight Tarot cards as a media to work with images that helps the creative hemisphere of the brain to open up and to awaken and to work and communicate with that left logical rational hemisphere of the brain, so that my students have clear access to their intuition, to their guides and angels, to their own answers, to their past, so that they can actually have access to their own subconscious and be able to hear clearly, this is what I need to change. This is what, wow, didn't know this was still a skeleton hiding in my closet that I need to transform. So each module of the 15 modules, so it runs for 15 months, has 3 in-depth video classes with a lot of exercises, and it's all channeled, and so the exercises are easy to do, but they go very, very, very deep. And then there's homework that also comes with each kind of grouping of classes that I call a module. And the wonderful part about the online system is that it's a perpetual, never-ending university. You can go through all 15 modules, and then you can take it again and again and again and again. Because every time we study with the 12 Archangels, the material never grows old. We just learn deeper. And we experience greater freedom, and just our reality continues to feel more heavenly with everything we learn. So that's how it works.
Are your videos live, or can people go back to them, or is it something that's pre-recorded?
They are all pre-recorded, so the university is set right now. I did, of course, record all of those videos live. But you can continue in the university as long as you like. Your enrollment never expires. And that's also why I have a monthly teleconference, so that I can we work with the cards, we work with what's going on astrologically, and we work with what's going on individually with the students to really have that personal touch in that interaction. Did I answer your question?
Yep, great. And would you like to talk a little bit more about your book? When is your book actually being released? It hasn't been released yet, or it has?
April, I just received my copy yesterday in the mail. So that means that the books will be available in bookstores and Amazon by sometime next week. The official release date, I believe, is October 22nd.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Would you like to describe a little bit about what your book has to offer people?
So, Lessons from the 12 Archangels, Divine Intervention in Daily Life is created. First of all, it's a channeled book. The material in it is very much designed to help us wherever we are on our journey. So if we're in a crisis, we can read the book from cover to cover. There are many, many awesome, wonderful, powerful guided imagery exercises that are easy to do, which will help us immediately. But we can also just ask the angels a question. How do I deal with this? Or how do I solve this problem? And we can open the book wherever it opens to. And just wherever our eyes fall on the page, that will give us help and support right here, right now. The book was designed so that it has 6 kind of fundamental or foundational chapters that kind of explain schoolroom Earth, why we're here, what's it all about. And then there are 48 messages from the angels that are designed to address what we have going on in our lives, from how to love a human being, how do we deal with money, so there's a message on money, there's a message on gratitude, there is a message on changing world, there's one on creative leadership. So they cover just about every kind of area of everyday life that we experience here on Earth. And you can just read that message. For example, there's one even on parenting and how to communicate with our pets. So again, the angels really wanted to make this as comprehensive as they could make it. And then at the very back of the book, there's the 12 Archangels Glossary. So that they want to make sure that whatever term they use, because their terms have been used, of course, in many other books and literature throughout history, they want to make sure that you understand what they mean by that word in the context of their book. So the glossary is also just wonderful fun to go and peruse. So how about for your awesome Path 11 show, I ask the angels for a message for the two of you as a collective team there, and I'm going to open the book and I'm going to see what they say.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so isn't this something? We open to message 18, manifestation. And it's a short message, and I'm just going to read this to the two of you. Earth is like an enormous stage where you can act out all of the experiences you need to expand your human consciousness. Your oversoul is writing the screenplay of your outer reality every moment. All your experiences are designed with perfect accuracy and synchronicity to allow you to see and feel where you are giving away your God power. Your outer reality works like a mirror by reflecting back to you where you still believe you are separate from God. As you expand your whole self, humanity expands, and each human soul gradually reunites with its oversoul, bringing heaven and earth together in the consciousness of the human mind. Manifestation is using God's energy to bring your hopes and ideals into physical form. The more connected you become to your oversoul, the easier it is for you to manifest your ideals consciously and instantly. This means having the ability to create with your heart and mind your outer experiences before they happen. Masters have lived and are present in your world who can visualize what they desire, focus their God force, and have their desire appear in your hands. Angels believe all humans have this ability, and yet we ask you to not let magic distract you. Use the magic of divine love to create a new world by trusting that all you desire to manifest will come about in a way that is for the greatest good and highest joy for all. Manifestation demands responsibility to the voice of God within you. Learn to be quiet and hear this voice, and you will be much wiser about what you ask to experience here on earth. Now, they have a little guided meditation that goes with this. It's called Receiving the Gift. Breathe in deeply and exhale completely. Repeat until your breathing is calm and centered. See yourself and the child within your heart standing together under a bright white light. The white light is so brilliant, it is all you can see. Hold both sets of your hands up to the light. Let the love come inside you until you become one with each other and one with the light of divine love. In your hands, hold up to the light what you desire and say once, I am giving thanks. This gift manifests for me in God's time for the greatest gift. I am giving thanks. This gift manifests for me in God's time for the greatest good of all. So Michael and April, they gave you a message to help Path 11, and it will work. You can visualize receiving that great, enormous growing audience that you both need and want and desire.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
And thanks for sharing that part of, the book there. And I didn't know that there were meditations to actually go with some of the messages too. So that's a wonderful piece, just along with the messages. It's almost like an extra bonus.
Well, my dear, the book is created to be experiential. So they really want the reader to experience a shift, to experience a healing, and to have that clarity of, okay, this is what I want to create, to manifest in relationship to this specific message on manifestation. And so the book, from my experience, really is alive. You can hold it and you can feel it vibrating. And the more we work with the material, and it's just rich with exercises, again, because they give a lesson, they give a teaching, and they say, okay, now let's bring in heaven here. And heaven, again, is a vibration where there is no fear. It's where only love exists and God's abundance. And that's what we are here to bring into our everyday human lives, is more of heaven's vibration and abundance. And they want to make sure that happens. And so that's why it's experiential. They give you the how and the way to create what it is, the change you desire. They give that right to us in a very digestible form.
Well, thank you so much, Belinda. This was such a wonderful interview, and it was great to speak with you and to be in touch with the angels and having them share some guidance, for us and Path 11. We really appreciate that. Before we wrap up, would you like to let people know where they can find your information?
The easiest way to find my information is through my website, which is belindawomack.com. All of my classes that I offer are right on my website. You can order a signed copy with a personalized quote from the 12 Archangels for you right on my website. So that, again, is belindawomack.com.
Great. Well, we wish you a lot of success with your book, and we're glad that we're able to be, a part of your path as well, and trying to help you get the word out to our viewers as well.
Well, thank you, and I'm certain of your success. I can feel it in every bone of my body, and so just a little more patience, but definitely hang in there.
Okay, will do.
Okay,
thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like more information about our films or to purchase our DVDs, you can head on over to our website at thepathseries.com. They're also available to purchase on amazon.com.
Our films are also streaming online at vimeo.com, gaiamtv.com, and iTunes.
If you have a show suggestion or would like us to interview someone specifically, please feel free to shoot us an email at info@thepathseries.com or send us a tweet at thepathseries.
Please rate and review us in iTunes and subscribe.
We hope you enjoyed the show.